Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the Starcraft 2 Own It Shack. Today I'm going to be bringing you a Terran tutorial versus Protoss. Something that a ton of you have been requesting, something that I myself have been in need of because my TvP is so atrocious at the moment. And, well, here you have it. It's going to be the 2-factory expansion build. Very, very powerful build based off the 2-factory opening from Starcraft Brood War. And so, for those of you Brood War buffs out there, you're going to know exactly what this build is about. And it's all about applying early pressure to your Protoss opponent. And this is going to be absolutely fantastic against a Protoss opponent who does one of the following builds. 1-gate Robo, 2-gate Robo, 3-gate Expand, and 2-gate Expand, 1-gate Expand. Any fast Expand build is going to be hard-pressed to deal with this rush. And also, please keep in mind, another huge advantage of this build is, well, that it's basically going to shred a 4-gate pretty easily if you can stall the 4-gate long enough to get your siege tank out. So that is a pretty big plus in my opinion. You got to have good micro, however. Once that siege tank comes out, you can't lose it. You need to target stalkers with it. If you target zealots, you're just wasting your time. And yeah, you should be pretty good to hold a 4-gate with this build. Now, of course, you never go for a build until you know what your opponent is doing. You can blindly go for this build if you wish. Do so at your own risk though, because trust me, it's not a good idea. If they go for a 3-gate Robo, you're dead. You will not be able to... You simply can't rush that amount of units. So, also another thing you have to look out for is a 3-gate Stargate build, because you will not have much anti-air aside from a couple of Marines that you get early. So those are a few things you want to watch out for with your scouting. And because of these potentially dangerous counters to my build, what I'm going to be doing here is going for a Reaper. And that's going to severely delay your factories and pretty much your tech, but it will allow you to scout these extremely risky builds from the Protoss opponent that can absolutely destroy you. So I also stash my SCV up there because it's a great map for that with some bushes to hide it. And yeah, so everything right now is pretty normal. The unusual stuff starts to happen after the Marine is out. So you're going to want to kill that probe obviously before dropping a tech lab on that barracks. You don't want him to see that. And then you can send that SCV back to work. And you should be pretty much good to go. You will notice I have walled off there. It's a personal choice. I've been experimenting with wall offs lately, really like him versus Protoss. And also don't miss your mules, it's pretty stupid. But yeah, that barracks is finished with its tech lab, so you can build your Reaper now. And also notice the second refinery comes down, the second the tech lab started building. So that's going to give you enough gas pretty quickly to get your siege tanks out and your 2 factories. So, scouting with the SCV once again, not going to see anything new. Just seeing a cybernetics core, but not a chrono boosted cybernetics core, so that indicates that he's not going to be 4-gating. A 4-gater would probably be chrono boosting the heck out of that core in order to get his warp gate tech up fast enough to deal with that. And I will be getting a Marauder because I see the chrono boosted gateway. That Marauder is going to stop any of those pesky 1 zealot 1 stalker pushes. And the Reaper is now out, and luckily for me a stalker was down there trying to chase my SCV, so I get a full scout of his base and I see the Robo. So it's a 1-gate Robo build from my opponent here. And what did I say my 2-factory expand build was good against? I'm pretty sure 1-gate Robo was on that list, so I will be dropping the 2nd factory. Just goes to show you how important scouting really is, something I've been trying to improve a lot. Yeah, I've really been reaping the rewards. So, there you go. And the tech lab should be going on to that 1st factory immediately after it's done. And that's going to be used to get Infernal Pre-Igniter. Now, the reason we're going to get Infernal Pre-Igniter instead of Siege Tech is because you're going to need Hellions to deal with the Zealots. Tanks with Siege mode deal quite easily against Stalkers. There's no problem there. You don't need Siege Tech in order to kill Stalkers. But you do need Infernal Pre-Igniter to kill Zealots fast, so that's why I suggest getting Infernal Pre-Igniter. You should also get a Hellion at your 2nd factory, and eventually you're going to want a reactor on that factory as well. I did delay the reactor though, so I could afford a second siege tank immediately after the first one finished. If I had gotten a reactor, I wouldn't have enough gas for that, so that's my reasoning there. And yeah, so pretty much right now you just want to keep making Marines, Hellions, siege tanks, and yeah, you're going to be expanding eventually off of this, but not before you apply some pretty severe pressure. Now, if you did go for this build blindly, and I don't suggest you do that, but if you did, then what you can do is you can push it around 7 minutes and 30 seconds, cross your fingers, hope they didn't go 3-gate robo, and you'll win otherwise. So, it's possible to do that, but it's a little bit cheesy, and it doesn't take much skill, and I think it's better just to, all around to play with scouting, so I suggest you do it this way, get that Reaper, be a bit more safe. It will make you a bit more vulnerable to the 4-gate though, getting that Reaper, so be cautious of that. If you're playing on a really cheesy section of the ladder, which is pretty much all of them right now, well, let's be real here. The chances of you getting 4-gated are about 99% right now on the ladder, because these Protoss players have realized that you can actually get to Diamond League by only 4-gating in every single matchup. So until that time is done, you will have to be pretty careful with this build. Like I said though, you scout the 4-gate, and you get that siege tank out quick, you should be able to hold it. Especially if you walled off like I did. That's just a metagame choice. So, as I push out here, a lot later than I would normally if I just went for this build blindly, we'll be expanding. Obviously, applying pressure, the greatest time to expand. And with 2 tanks and a bunch of Hellions and some Marines, you should have a pretty solid unit composition against anything he might throw at you. So you're going to want to just go in there with the Hellions. See a stalker on the high ground. He's clearly scared. He has vision of this with his observer, obviously. And that's one of the greatest strengths of Protoss. You can see pretty much anything. And the Immortal there is going to signal to me, alright, going up that ramp is probably not a good idea. There's no way I can handle that. Not until I get Siege Tech. But like I said, Siege Tech was not on the menu because we instead opted for Infernal Pre-Igniter. So Siege Tech is currently researching, and that's going to take a little bit of time. It takes about 80 seconds, and once that's done, your rush is going to gain a lot of strength now because you have more siege tanks, so that upgrade is much more useful than it was when we pushed out with 2 tanks. I'm also going to be checking for an expansion with that Hellion. Now, please notice I'm getting a Ghost Academy right there. That's so important. I can't really explain to you how important that Ghost Academy is. When you see heavy Immortal play like we just saw there, you're going to need those ghosts in order to land some EMPs, or you're pretty much toast. Now also notice that the Hellion that I put at his expansion saw his push coming, so I will easily be able to pull my units back here. Now I got siege tech, so I can safely set up a nice defensible siege line. There's no way he can penetrate that this early until he gets Colossi. So yeah, that's pretty much that. One thing that you will want to watch out for, and you'll notice right there, I sent a Marine to the Destructible Rocks, because that is a little sneaky area that a lot of people have been using to just bust in, kill your expansion, and yeah. Also notice the engineering base coming up. I feel way ahead right now because my expansion is so far ahead of his that I can get that engineering bay. And the bay is going to be to protect against Dark Templar. Another really common cheese now is just when a Protoss is behind, they mass about 10 Dark Templar, send them all over the map and kill you, and I've lost to it, so be careful, guys. Now, because I had the Marine there, I saw this kind of stuff happening, and you can easily stop it. Look at how fast the Immortal shields go down from those Hellions. It's really a thing of beauty. It's quite effective. And as you can see, there was no chance in hell that little trick was going to work on me because I scouted it so fast. So now you're going to want to switch to those ghosts. We have a ton of extra gas right now. We have a ton of extra minerals right now, not enough gas. So I will be putting down a couple extra refineries there. And the Ghost Academy, just so you know, oh yeah, Armory's going down too to spend that extra resources. Just so you know, the other option that you have instead of the Ghost Academy is a Starport. Oh man, I was this close to saying Stargate, but no, it's a Starport. And what you can use the Starport for is to deal with heavy stalker play. So if your opponent was, instead of going for this 1-gate robo, let's say he went for a 4-gate with heavy blink stalker, a build that's been spreading around the ladder like an STD, you can just get that starport for the Raven and point defense drone. That going to be much more useful than a Ghost would. The EMP, not essential versus stalkers. Your siege tanks will do very, very well versus stalkers without Ghost support. But in this case, that's not what he was doing. He was going for the robos. He's going to have immortals, and thus I need Ghosts. Also note my hotkey setup. Got 4 usually for my higher tech units, such as the Ghost and Raven, 2 for my siege tanks, 1 for the Hellions, and 3 for the whole army. So he's getting a bunch of sentries right now, and the Ghost is going to do very well versus that. Just EMP those sentries if he tries to engage with them. Going to be pretty good. You'll also notice right there I send a scan. I want to see what he's doing. I see a robotics bay, and that's going to signal me to push a lot faster because, like I said, once those Colossi are out, this is a different game. That's a very powerful unit, and that's all I'm going to say about that. If you want to hear more opinions on the Colossi, be sure to check out Avillo's stream. He's my go-to guy for mech strats. One of the greatest Terran QQers about Protoss, and I love him for that because, to be quite frank, this is a tough matchup right now. So, yeah. And you don't want to use that EMP until he engages like this. So just go and, there you go, I EMP the sentries. That's all you really need to EMP tanks, and Hellions will take care of anything else without sentry support for those force fields. So, there you go. And now you can easily push in here. You have tech. You have almost, yeah, you do have higher tech than him, in fact. I didn't let him get those Colossi out. And, yeah, I mean, you're now in his base. He's going to be putting an observer there, though. And because I'm so far ahead, I'm just going to throw in an expansion while I'm in this good position. Now, another thing, as you can see, save some scans for situations like that, because you do not want to lose to Dark Templar. I've done it too many times, and it's annoying. I'll also get a starport now, so I can get those Ravens for detection. And I will be putting missile turrets down at my contain to deal with more DTs. You might want to leave some units at home, actually, because that's how I've lost. They just send the DTs to your main, and they kill all your SCVs while your immobile tanks are out of position. So be careful about that. And there you have it. Your tanks just wreak havoc on those units. And you got 2 Ghosts now for some lovely EMPs. And once he's in his base like this and you're parked at his expansion, you basically have an invitation. You're cordially invited to go take out all of his probes. So that's what I'm going to do here. And once he realizes that that's an invitation he should have never extended, he goes ahead and leaves the game. So that is this strategy. Hopefully should have a build order for you guys. But like I said, don't like build orders too much. I think it's better to react to what your opponent's doing. So anyways, that's the strategy. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll come in again and tune in for another daily dose of ownage.